Hi world, this is the second video of the morning. I'm feeling generous today. It's 7:30 in the morning, it's the 17th of April 2014. In 4 days from now, Elizabeth Windsor, the Queen of England, will be, it'll be her true birthday. She will be 88 years old. I am not a royalist. I do not have much time for the royal family. If I had my way, most of them I'd turf out of their palaces and say, go and get a job. However, I am a monarchist. I'm a bit old-fashioned in this way, in that I live in Britain, and Britain's always had a king or a queen, a monarch, and we need a king or queen. There's only 29 royal heads of state left in the world, and I think it's important that the British monarchy continues, but just a very tight elite family, not the hangers-on. And I've got the Queen of England's horoscope in front of me. She was born on the 21st of April 1926 at 20 minutes to 3 in the morning in London. As is well documented, the current Queen of England, Elizabeth Windsor, was never meant to be Queen. It is an accident of history that her uncle, who was king, stepped down and her father took over, but her father was not king for very long before he passed over, pushing Elizabeth into queenship at a very, very young age. She took the throne before I was born, and I'm pushing 60, so she's been on the throne a hell of a long time. She's been there ever since I and most of the people alive in the world today have been there. When she passes, it will be a cataclysmic shockwave that will echo around the world for 2 or 3, 4 days, no matter how well prepared we, both Britain and the rest of the world, might be for it. Because being a monarch for that long, her effects will be felt throughout the world. And the fact that she was never meant to be a monarch, just for the record, she's Taurus with Leo moon and Capricorn rising. She was never meant to be a monarch yet. She has Saturn, the ruling planet of her horoscope with Capricorn rising, exactly on the Scorpio midheaven. She is meant for power. She has an unaspected sun at the very start of Taurus. She is a Taurus by merely 3 hours, 2-3 hours. The sun is conjunct Chiron at the end of Aries, but it is unaspected. And the sun is the only planet in Taurus, so I do not see her as a Taurian at all. She has a Mars-Jupiter conjunction in Aquarius, giving her a very world view and a strong humanitarian side to her life. But it is opposite Neptune in the 7th house in Leo, which is a bit over-idealistic and perhaps sees the world the way it is presented rather than dealing with it the way it is. But then she's a head of state, so it would be sanitized. Both the Mars, Jupiter and Neptune, the opposition between these 3 planets is all strongly squared to her midheaven and her Saturn in Scorpio. Everything revolves around her Saturn. Much of her chart is in the bottom half. Most people don't see the real her. They only see the Saturn in Scorpio on the midheaven. But here's an interesting point as well. Elizabeth has the moon at 12 degrees of Leo. So does her husband. They have moon conjunct moon, which makes me think that when they're alone, they actually resonate really well and they giggle like little children at the stupidity and the inanity of all the people around them. And here's something really unusual, and this is why I'm doing this video, and a big thank you to those clients who prompted, 2 of you asked me to do videos on the Queen, specifically for this purpose. Unlike anyone I've ever done a reading for, and will probably never do again, the Queen of England is just coming up for her Pluto half return. She is of that age, in her late 80s. Nancy Reagan is another, who is still alive, I think, who are now going through their Pluto opposition. She was born with Pluto at 12 Cancer, and because, although Pluto has a 248-year orbit, between Cancer to Capricorn it moves much faster than it does from Capricorn to Cancer because of the irregularity of its orbit. A Pluto opposition, there's no textbooks on this. What does it mean to have Pluto opposite Pluto? Transforming the transformer, rebirthing the rebirther, regeneration, rebirth. Her name will live forever. I do note that later this year, around the end of October, start of November, she will go through her third and final Saturn return. It's a one-off, it's not a 9-month job. So I'll be very interested to see what comes up for her around October, November time, and I'm sure I'll revisit her chart before then. To be honest, I'd love to do a whole half-hour session on her chart because it's fascinating, it's an astrological story. But that's for another time. She's going to be around for a time yet. With Saturn on that midheaven, she will outdo Victoria. She'll probably die on the throne. Catch you later, folks. Bye.